Today on the Morning Edition, the fate of 3 elementary schools at ASD has been decided as the board meeting went late into the night to pass a crucial budget. We'll break down what was cut and what remains. Plus, a family from Eagle River went on vacation to Mexico. Great place. Terrible timing. Their vacation was upended as they were trapped at the airport during the outbreak of violence. We'll check in with them and make sure everyone is safe. And later, babies in the office. It may sound crazy, but that's the reality for state offices in Arkansas, where a new rule allows new mothers and fathers to bring their babies with them to work. We'll find out how it's affecting them as the Morning Edition starts now. Good Wednesday morning, everyone. Thanks for waking up with us today. It's pretty windy out there, Aaron.
Yeah, and that is leading to some bitter cold wind chills across South Central. So bundle up if you are heading outdoors throughout today. We are going to see those sub-zero wind chills remaining with us. We're currently coming in at 1 degree in Anchorage, 21 below in Fairbanks, 3 degrees in Palmer, while Juneau and most of Southeast continues to hold on to those temperatures in the 30s. But even for the Panhandle, we will tap into some of those colder conditions as we welcome in the close of this week. But the overall pattern for the rest of this week and into next week is going to be this Arctic air that is going to settle back in across the state. We've already seen those temperatures taking a sharp drop downward. 24 below is where we're currently sitting at in McGrath, 21 below in Fairbanks. Out towards Dead Horse, those temperatures are hovering near 40 below. And you can see those sub-zero values staying with us as far as western Alaska, even out towards Gamble, parts of the Aleutians, seeing those temperatures in the teens and the 20s to start off this morning. While the Aleutians as well as Southeast will hold on to a lot warmer weather compared to the rest of the state, even those areas will see a drop in temperatures. Now, things are quieting down across Alaska in terms of that winter storms, those back-to-back storms that we have been dealing with. While mainland Alaska is on the quiet side, we do have this area of low pressure that's going to continue to keep snow in the forecast for Southeast. We did see several inches yesterday, and we're still watching the potential for up to about 7 inches of additional snow accumulation from today on into your Thursday, possibly even some locally heavier amounts in some of those heavier snow showers that managed to move through the region. Now, on the backside of that low, winds are coming in out of the northwest. This is funneling in those colder conditions, and the origination of this air can be sourced back to Siberia. This is where we're seeing some of those coldest conditions continuing to settle in across the state. Those temperatures are already cooling off about 10 to 40 degrees colder than this time yesterday, and this downward trend in temperatures will continue across the state. So coming up in my full forecast, we'll be breaking down the snow and rain for Southeast. That's the first thing we'll be looking at. The gusty winds for South Central, that's what we'll be looking at next. And then later in the show, we'll be talking about that sharp drop in temperature statewide. I'll have those details in that 7-day coming up.
It's official. 3 schools are set to close in Anchorage. While much of the country was watching the State of the Union, many of Anchorage's parents and students were packed in the Anchorage School Board meeting as they passed a budget and made decisions that will impact hundreds of students. Tensions were high amid discussions of the closures, cuts, and a challenge facing the $90 million deficit. The fate of Fire Lake, Lake Otis, and Campbell STEM elementary schools has been decided. Those 3 schools will be closed at the end of the school year. They also voted to change the borders for 2 other schools. Superintendent Jarrett Bryant said the district recognizes the difficulty of this conversation, but in the face of the deficit, the action taken to restructure was necessary. After the meeting, we spoke with school board member Andy Holloman about the decisions.
Well, I think this is the biggest series of cuts when we really had no good idea what might still be coming from the legislature. You know, a lot of people find our system confusing because we're mandated to put a budget in now when we actually have no good idea what our revenue is going to be. So if it seems confusing to people, that's part of the reason. This cuts deeper into things that affect more students than anything I've ever seen in my 30 years of being involved with the Anchorage School District. I hope the legislature is able to do something that lets us roll a lot of this back.
Currently, the 3 schools are set to close at the end of the school year with the buildings repurposed or declared excess to district needs. As Holloman mentioned, additional funding from the state or from the voters could alter the timeline of events or the scale of cuts being made. An amendment to the budget was proposed by members Carl Jacobs and Kelly Lessons to avoid cutting school sports programs, which had faced fierce opposition to the cuts proposed.
Having been someone who came up through the school system here, and I really credit my journey into cross-country skiing with being introduced to it in high school. I think it is such a meaningful part of our community, and to think about losing that was just gut-wrenching.
The amendment proposed restored funding for all middle school and high school sports with the single exception of gymnastics. The amendment passed unanimously. It specified that the money for sports as well as nursing positions was to come from the money saved by the closure of the 3 ASD elementary schools as part of the right-sizing plan that had already passed. The amendment did draw some scrutiny, with some criticizing it as a one-time funding fix for the problem, not a long-term solution. The final ASD budget passed with a vote of 5-2. A military operation targeting a drug trafficking network in Mexico sparked incredible violence, and as Lauren Maxwell reports, it forced an Eagle River family's vacation to turn into a nightmare at the airport.
Meg Moore says they could sense trouble as they headed to the airport in Puerto Vallarta Sunday morning.
As we got closer and closer to the airport, the streets were emptying out.
They got more nervous as they passed military vehicles and burned out cars. They were anxious when they finally arrived, but then total panic set in.
People just started screaming and running, and there was no official announcement, and an alarm started going off. Everyone was taking cover.
Morse was outside the building with her 2-month-old.
And my husband and our other 5 kids were inside. And I could see through the open doors. I could see my kids crying and running and screaming.
She tried to reach them, but before she could,
a Mexican family saw me come in and just grabbed me and put me under a table and said, "Be quiet, stay down."
Moore says they eventually got an all clear. She reunited with her family, but they couldn't leave.
All the flights were canceled. No one was getting out. No one was getting in. Roads are closed, so you really can't go anywhere.
They tried to relax as the hours ticked by with very little information.
We stayed all day at the airport, and by 10:30 that night, we realized we're not getting out. So we just hunkered down as best we could and settled down for the night.
Moore says it was a huge relief when they were finally able to leave the airport the next morning. Looking back, she says it wasn't the vacation they expected.
From what I've heard, this is a fluke. We just had really bad timing.
She's just thankful all of them are safe. Lauren Maxwell, Alaska's news source.
Meg Morris tells us the family is safe at a nearby resort with reservations to fly back to Alaska on Thursday. Another winter storm is bringing snow to Fairbanks, but officials say don't grab the roof rake just yet. Since 1994, structures built in Fairbanks need to be able to hold 50 pounds per square foot of snow. Before that, it was 40 pounds. This year, the city has only seen about 26 pounds per square foot of accumulated snow so far, not enough to put properly built buildings at risk. However, other factors may contribute to a failing roof, including fatigue and trusses and water damage. These roof failures could take a variety of forms.
It could be as minor as you see deflection, you see your structures start to bend. Maybe you're starting to see gypsum board crack. Maybe your doors aren't opening correctly because of different pressures on the wall. Or it can be catastrophic. It could be a sudden collapse of the roof.
If you're worried about your roof, experts recommend hiring a structural engineer for an inspection, which can be done any time of the year. Still ahead today on the Morning Edition, a family living in Chugiak faced down a fire with the help of their community, with emergency responders over an hour away. The community stepped up to help fight the flames until they could arrive. We'll share their inspiring story after this.
And we're still holding on to some snow and rain for areas of southeast. I'll have a look at that forecast for you for the Panhandle. But first at sunrise, 8:11 in Anchorage, 7:02 in Juneau. Your full forecast is next.
Welcome back in on this Wednesday morning, and it is a super chilly one, Aaron, across the state.
Yeah, we're seeing a rapid drop in those temperatures statewide. Many areas have already seen temperatures drop about 20 to 40 degrees compared to this time yesterday. Now, one area of the state where we have yet to tap into any of that cold conditions will be the Panhandle. But even for the Panhandle, as we welcome in your Thursday and through the rest of the week, we will see temperatures drop about 10+ degrees. Not significant, but we will see temperatures returning back into the 20s for highs. 36 is where we're currently sitting at in Juneau. So we've kind of seen those temperatures kind of wobble back and forth between freezing and above freezing. So we are seeing some of those road conditions, which could be a bit slick. Snow continues for the Panhandle as well. You can see those temperatures 20s, 30s, and 40 as you head out towards Sitka. Now, southern parts of the Panhandle as well as the outer coast, this is where we'll see that better shot for some rain mixing in with that snow that continues to impact a good portion of the Panhandle. And with temperatures warm enough, this is going to be some of that heavy, wet snow that can become easily compacted on the roadways and lead to some icy conditions once those temperatures drop below freezing. So take note of that here over the next couple of days, as we are going to see temperatures dropping back below freezing even into the afternoon hours. Today, though, we do stay above freezing. Rain and snow is still with us across the Panhandle, and we'll still pick up several more inches of snow accumulation. You can see out towards Juneau, that winter weather advisory, about 4 to 10 inches of additional accumulation on top of what has already fallen. As you head from Sitka out towards Ketchikan, 4 to 7 inches to be expected. Of course, slightly lower totals due to the rain that will mix in for areas of the outer coast as well as out towards Ketchikan. So be prepared for that rain and snow mix that will occur. Now, inland parts of the Panhandle, as you head through the inner channels, today will bring the best opportunity for some rain mixing in. And then as we welcome in our Thursday overnight into Thursday, that's where some colder weather begins to build back in across southeast. And as a result, you can see widespread snow continue from Thursday into Friday, and I'm not expecting any wintry mix beyond today. But today will bring that chance for some rain mixing in, so a heavy, wet snow will be possible for the Panhandle. As we head from Thursday evening on into Friday, that rain or the snow will begin to lighten up. We'll see some breaks in that cloud coverage, but to close out the week, we will keep at least some light snow showers in the forecast, although there will be some dry time to close out this week. But again, be prepared for several more inches of that snow accumulation. You can see from now on through 1 a.m. tonight, we'll see anywhere from about 1 inch to 3 or so inches of that snowfall accumulation. So not heavy snowfall today in terms of the amount that we'll see, and that's largely due to the rain that will mix in. As we welcome in Thursday and we see all snow, this is where we'll pick up several more inches of that snow accumulation. So be prepared for the possibility that we could see some higher amounts approaching about 10 inches for parts of the Panhandle. In fact, that snow model trend for Juneau showing that from today on through the close of the week, many of those models are eyeing in right around that 5 to about 11, 12-inch mark for Juneau. So be prepared for some locations to see higher amounts than about 10 inches, but on average, we'll see about 4 to 10 inches for Juneau and surrounding locations. But that snowfall will stay with us. For the season as a whole, Juneau is coming in at 114.1 inches of snow accumulation. You can see normal for this time of year, 72 inches. So we are well above average in the snowfall department. And that 7-day forecast showing that snow will stay with us into Thursday. We kind of dry out to close out the week, and then snow showers build back in. But there's those cooler conditions as we drop about 10 degrees for those highs. Overnight lows, Kristen, also dropping into the single digits. Not as cold for southeast, but it will be cold here across South Central with those winds. I'll have that for you coming up next.
All right, thanks, Aaron. What could have developed into a true tragedy is now a symbol of community strength. The Jace Bertrand has the story of how neighbors rallied together to stop a fire before it grew out of control.
It started with a power outage due to high winds on Kodiak Island, forcing the Doherty family to use their generator to keep their pipes from freezing. The next morning, however, they found their home and lives were at risk.
We went outside about an hour after we'd started it and looked over, and there was about a 10-foot flame coming from our generator shed. And at that point, of course, panic struck in and we freaked out.
The Dohertys live in Chiniak, more than 40 miles from the nearest city of Kodiak. Calls were made to 911, but the nearest fire department was more than an hour away. After struggling to find water to put out the blaze, Alexandria Doherty says she turned to an unlikely source of help: a mom's group chat.
In about 5 to 10 minutes, people started showing up with shovels and fire extinguishers and buckets to put the fire out with mostly snow and a small spring that we have in our yard.
The family and their neighbors were able to put out the fire before it spread to the rest of the house. The Bayside Fire Department arrived after the blaze and ensured the area was now safe.
They were able to come and do a safety check on the tree, spray the tree to make sure it wouldn't engulf again, because if it was to, with the high winds we were having, it could have been catastrophic.
Doherty says the dangers were higher due to there not even being a fire hydrant in the area. A poignant reminder of the risks that come with living outside the city.
We need to get something implemented out here for the future, because it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when there will be another fire, and we need to have something, a safety plan in place so somebody does not completely lose their home or their life.
And a symbol of the strength of community in the face of crisis.
If our house would have went, there would have been multiple houses that would have went. And so thank God for the community pulling together as quickly as they did. Otherwise, we would not have a house.
Jace Bertrand, Alaska's news source.
Thanks for listening to our podcast. Click subscribe so you can get the latest podcasts from Alaska's news source automatically. And stay up to date with breaking news and in-depth reporting. Available for free 24/7 with the Alaska's news source app.